Hey crafters, I'm back with the second drill with me for Cinderella. Today I want to focus on this big, beautiful, bright pumpkin. In the last drill with me, we worked on Cinderella's slipper, and I'm excited. I'm going to talk about our vacation driving across the United States. So let's get started on this pumpkin. I'm going to go ahead and start with this diamond down at the bottom. And I'm just going to jump right in with the drilling because I have a lot to talk about. So this diamond actually matches up to DMC 921. And let me get you a good angle so you can see it pretty well. There we go. That's actually pretty good. It's kind of a rust color, a little bit of a brownish orange for the shadow of our pumpkin. I have not done the black outline yet. I've been super swamped, super busy, and that is on my to-do list for this weekend. I want to get a lot more of that black outline done. But this Cinderella one, I'm so excited about. I'm actually trying really hard to make sure I don't sing songs from the movie, because that would be a no-no for the video. Oh, see, again, already rambling. So, hey everybody. I hope everything's going really well where you are. This pumpkin has me very much in a fall mood. And even though it is August, here in Germany, this morning when I walked my dog, it was 51 degrees. So in the mornings and in the evenings, we definitely have some fall weather going on already. And in the middle of the day, it's like 75 degrees. So it's like jackets in the morning and the evening and short sleeves in the afternoon. So our trip, sorry, just heard something and it's the neighbors. I'll explain that later. We share a door with our neighbor. Oh my gosh, I'm already rambling. So our trip across the United States, we did Disneyland, and after we did Disney, we packed up the car, my family went back to Virginia, and we carried on. Now, the exact timeline and itinerary and the states that we drove through, I really can't remember much. We did try to drive no more than I think 400 miles in a day. We had a couple days where we only drove an hour. We had a few days where, because of all the stops for lunch, gas, and the kids, we were in the car for maybe 6 or 7 hours. But at no time did it ever feel like too much. The kids were really well behaved and it passed pretty quickly. So we left Florida, and one of the first things that we did that was actually really cool, and I know I'm gonna leave stuff out, I know, but we went Tupelo, Mississippi. I had to double check. I have it all written down in front of me. So we went to Tupelo, Mississippi to see the birthhouse of Elvis. A complete tourist trap, but we just decided, we thought it'd be really fun and interesting. They have a museum there. They have Elvis's birthhouse. They have his childhood church. I mean, they show off not ancient, but they show off really family photos and clothing, and they have the house set up with how it would have looked when Elvis was living there. It was just really fun, and my husband and I, we thought it was just this complete cool roadside stop Americana. The thing that the kids took away from it, there was an outhouse. And it talked about, back then, some people still had an outhouse and they didn't have a bathroom in the house. And my kids just thought that was the most interesting thing. They wanted to look at the outhouse. They wanted to know all about the outhouse. They wanted us to read all the plaques for the outhouse. And we're like, guys, you want to go listen to some music? They have a chapel there, or they have Elvis's childhood church, but they also have a chapel that's been built there, and it plays like Elvis's gospel music, and we're like, this is really cool, the music is great. And they were like, can we go look at the outhouse again? So we got to check that out. Complete tourist thing that we really liked. Oh, another roadside thing that we did before we got to Florida, we actually stopped at south of the border, And if you're from the East Coast, maybe you've been or maybe you've seen their signs up and down I-95. South of the border is a tourist trap right between North Carolina and South Carolina on the state lines. And I had never been. We stopped in there and it was cute and the kids had a nice time. There's like an arcade and restaurants and a lot of different tourist trap stuff to buy and, oh, sorry, I hit the camera, rides and games, but it was quite weird. So it was very hot that day and we had Axel with us. So we didn't feel very comfortable leaving him in the car. But so we would drive around, find a shady spot. One of us would kind of stay either with the car on or next to the car, windows rolled down, or walk him. And at one point, my kids decided they wanted to check out, and south of the border has this, the alligators. They have an alligator and reptile little zoo. I don't know if you'd call it a zoo there. And it was like, okay, we can definitely check it out, but that, you know, that could be a larger time commitment. So we need to figure out what to do with Axel. And they had some signs on some of the doors that said, dogs welcome. This reptile place did not have a sign. So I just went in there and I said, hey, can I bring my dog in here? And they're like, oh, we actually don't really have a policy because no one's asked to bring their dog in here before. And I'm like, yeah, well, I'm going to be the weirdo that asks. And they're like, yeah, sure. So we brought our dog into this animal zoo. And we have some interesting pictures of the dog just looking at alligators of like, what is going on here? But that kind of set it up. And with Elvis's birthplace, we decided we just wanted to kind of do these really fun roadside stops as much as we can. Now, again, I'm not going to get all the times and dates and the locations of where we stayed at because that would just be a lot to go back and remember. I'm just going to tell you all the cool stuff that we saw. I'm not sure if it was that night after Tupelo or eventually we ended up in Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis, Tennessee was really cool. We only had one night there and we asked the person at our hotel what would be the best barbecue place to go to. And he's like, hands down, I think it was called like Central Barbecue. I'd have to look it up, but we went to a barbecue restaurant and it was really good. Memphis barbecue is delicious. And Memphis was just a really cool stop. The restaurant was really laid back. The kids were all having like great behavior. The weather was really good. So even though we only spent a night there, we had a really nice night in Memphis. And it was just kind of a stopover point. But so already we've gone Florida. I remember we popped up. We drove all through Alabama. We did Tupelo, Mississippi, and Memphis. Oh, guys, I'm all over the place. I'm sorry. We stopped at a gas station in Florida that had live alligators. So the gas station had signs up, another tourist trap. And it's like, you know, you pump the gas and then you get to go inside and see the alligators. And I thought that was the coolest thing. I actually tried to take a picture, but it didn't come out too well because it was through the glass. But I got to see more little baby alligators. I think I've done all of the, I've done all the diamonds. So let me check my list again. Oh, no, back, yeah. After Memphis, we ended up driving to Little Rock, Arkansas. And I'm gonna put the diamonds back in real quick. And we were just kind of, that was a pass through, just a one night in Arkansas. And we were like, well, what can we do while in Little Rock? Let's find something. I mean, I don't know how often I'm gonna be in Little Rock. Ooh, next, I'm gonna do the circle, which is a DMC 970. I have a lot of this color, but only a little is left in this one. Let me shake the tray out. This is definitely orange. Orange, orange, orange for the pumpkin, and what you see on the tray, it might be a little darker than what I see in person. There we go. So this side here doesn't have a shadow. That's pretty accurate. I load Google Maps when we were in Little Rock, and we were walking distance from the Clinton Presidential Library. Now, whatever your politics are, I have learned to each their own. I don't talk about politics, but I'd never been to a presidential library before. And I just thought, I want to go and check this out. I want my kids to check it out. And I'm gonna say this. I'm actually gonna say this on a YouTube video. And it's embarrassing. So I was thinking, great, let's bring all the kids. We'll go to the presidential library and we'll find the kids section and I'll sit and read them some books. Because my dummy self actually thought, in addition to all the interesting stuff that's at a presidential library, that there was a community library inside the presidential library. I am an idiot. That is not true. But we checked out the library. We checked out the presidential library. It was a lot of history. I told you guys I have a history degree. So I was really interested in it. And there was also like interactive, you press a button and a different display kind of pops up on a computer. The kids liked that. They asked a lot of questions about pictures and videos. So even though we only had one day in Little Rock, it was really exciting to check out something that none of us have ever done before. And the kids really liked the gift shop. Of course, every kid wants to go and check out the gift shop, and they're trying to get us to buy like a $10 notebook. I'm like, we're not going to buy any $10 notebook. And it was, so close to our hotel. We ended up kind of heading back, and I think we actually just had dinner at the hotel because I just remember we were a little tired. We didn't spend very long at the library, maybe an hour and a half, because for the baby, there wasn't a whole lot that he could get into, and he was on his, good behavior, but we just kind of popped through. The kids were they were interested, but they were like really overly excited, really loud running around, and you can tell that there were people there trying to read everything, and I hope they weren't too disruptive. But from Arkansas, I know we had another stop. I think we had another stop. I can't remember the exact details. I didn't do that great of writing everything down as we traveled. But we made our way to Amarillo, Texas. And crafting and Miss Crochet and Coffee, you asked what my favorite adventure over the summer was. And let me tell you, this one was it. We went to Amarillo, Texas, because I had this lifelong dream, and my husband supported me with this dream, and he said, you're going to do this. We're going to go to Amarillo. If you know what Amarillo is famous for, maybe you've kind of already put it together, but if not, have you ever heard of that 72-ounce steak that they have in Texas? Yep. So I really like steak. I'm a steak and potatoes kind of girl. And my dream, and it's been this way probably since I was 15 or 14, I want to go to Amarillo and I wanted to try and eat the 72-ounce steak. And I went to Amarillo and I tried to eat the 72-ounce steak. And it was wonderful. I had such a fun time. I did not eat the whole thing. It didn't happen, but I had a blast. They have a live webcam. So between my husband and myself, I messaged my friends. I messaged my family. They were all watching. I had a lot of support. My husband was getting text messages, updating the family. And I was sitting there with one other person. He also did not complete it, but it was so much fun. You're sitting there in this restaurant and you're up on a stage and they bring this huge steak out. And the rest of the restaurant is watching you because the stage is right up front, but they're all supporting you. And I thought the steak was delicious, and I'm chowing down because I love steak. And you have the restaurant, people are watching you, coming and talking to you, supporting you. Just really good people, and it was a lot of fun. So the steak is larger. It's falling off the sides of the dinner plate that they bring it on. You have to eat the steak. You don't have to eat the gristle. Some people think you do. You don't. You have to eat a dinner roll, a salad, some shrimp cocktail pieces. I feel like there was another thing you have to eat, but you have to eat all that to win. I ate my shrimp, my dinner roll, my salad. I got all that down. I also ate what I think was maybe somewhere around 55 ounces. My husband thinks I ate about 75% of it. I think it was probably a little less than that. I think I got about 55 ounces. But I made a huge dent. And I'll put some pictures in while I'm chatting right now. I talked to him beforehand about what my strategy would be. And I told him I'm not going to eat to the point where I felt sick, because I wanted to enjoy this and I wanted to have really good memories from it. And I thought if I ate to the point where I got sick or I was forcing myself, then that would really just leave me with some bad memories. I did eat slow. That was my problem. I ate way too slow and I ran out of time. And my jaw did really start to hurt. I mean, after an hour of chewing, your jaw is just achy every time you open and close it. And actually, the next day, even for breakfast, my jaw was still really, really sore. But I didn't win. And afterwards, you know, there's like an announcer and it's like, oh, you didn't win. And I stood up and I looked at the whole restaurant. I talked to everybody in the restaurant and I said, this has been my dream since I was a kid. Thank you for being here and being a part of my dream. I was on that much of a cloud nine and I had a great time. My husband, my kids were so supportive. My kids were sitting there and they're clapping and they didn't quite understand like why mommy just keeps eating steak. And I tried to really frame it in the way of, well, this is mommy's goal. You can have whatever goal you want in life, and it's just important to work towards that goal. And my girls are really sweet. At the end, they're like, did you eat it? And I'm like, no, I didn't eat the whole thing. And then like they kept reminding me for days later. They're like, Mommy, you remember when you couldn't finish your steak? And I'm like, yes, I remember. But I had such a nice time. And you actually, you get like a goodie bag for even trying. You get a t-shirt that says like, I tried to eat the whole thing. You get a bag, you get a cup, you get a water bottle. They give you all these cute little things. It's all restaurant branded, but just kind of memories from your time. And if I'm ever back in Amarillo, Texas, I will definitely try it again. I would love to try it again. I don't know if I'd ever be able to complete it, but you know, just it was fun. That was definitely my favorite adventure of the whole trip. And yeah, I would do it again. Now, how did I feel afterwards? So, again, I ate really slow. I didn't get to the point where I felt kind of sick. I did not eat dinner, but I did eat a light breakfast the next day, and I felt okay. That could probably contribute. Guys, let me tell you this. Let me keep drilling while I'm talking. I gained almost 20 pounds when I was in the United States, and eating that much steak probably contributed to it. So I was able to eat a lot because we had just been eating so much in the U.S. And then when we were also in Amarillo, we went to Cadillac Ranch, which was a lot of fun. Cadillac Ranch are these Cadillacs, they're put into the ground. And every day people come with spray paint and they just spray paint over the previous day's artwork. They do their own artwork. You can spray paint the cars and people spray paint the ground and they write their names. They do these really beautiful pictures. And it's kind of this really cool community. Everyone's doing art, working together. We wanted to check it out. And we went and we checked it out and we didn't bring any spray paint. we just, I don't know, didn't get a chance to stop and get any. We didn't think the kids would want to do it. But they really wanted to spray paint and color on the cars. And there were other people, other families, and everyone's just giving us bottles of spray paint. That way the kids can take part. And everyone's helping each other out. And it was really nice. We had a good time. The kids loved it. So that was another stop we did in Amarillo. It looks like I'm all done with those. I'm going to do this X color real quick. So let me put up my 970s and get the X out. Oh, didn't close all the way. So it looks like, oh, come on. X is 919. I don't need very many. Just put a few on the tray. Oh, maybe a little more than that. There we go. It is really a dark burnt red. There we go. What you see on the tray in this lighter part is what the DMC looks like. One thing that actually surprised me about Amarillo in Texas is the elevation. You're kind of up, right? Is it? I think it was the elevation because I was cold. I was cold in Texas, and we're in Texas in maybe, when was that? Like the beginning of June? The beginning of June. And we were wearing some light long sleeve jackets. We actually didn't bring a whole lot of cold items. We brought a few because we knew we were going to be in Colorado. But I wasn't expecting that. And they were actually telling me like this was just beautiful weather for them. And it all lucked out for our trip. But, you know, I just kind of figured Texas was always really hot. So that was interesting, something to learn. And I actually skipped over Oklahoma. So in between Memphis and Texas, we stayed in Oklahoma. And Miss Crochet, I was surprised at how much I liked Oklahoma. We were in Oklahoma City. That might be another favorite place, adventure that we went on to. So we only stayed in Oklahoma for a night. And when we arrived, we were in a hotel. And the hotel actually had all these signs up about a tornado warning and what we should do for a tornado warning, and that the area was under a tornado warning and we need to be careful. So I think Oklahoma ended up being one of my favorite places for a few reasons. One, it was just a night in. We had a restaurant in the hotel. We ate at that restaurant. The family kind of watched the weather reports about the tornado. We stayed in the hotel. We just hung out together. And that was one of the reasons why it was a favorite night of mine. But also, as we were driving to the hotel and the next day leaving the hotel, you guys know I'm a rather simple person, and just the smallest pleasures in life make me so happy. I swear, the largest Chinese food buffet I have ever seen in my entire life was in Oklahoma. And I'm like, this is awesome, Oklahoma City. And I'm like, I want to come back through and eat at that place. The largest Dollar Tree I have ever seen in my life was in Oklahoma City as we were driving. And I'm like, that is awesome. We left in the morning, so I don't think it was before 10. I don't think it was open. And I don't know, I was just kind of on such a high. I'm like, everyone was really nice here. Our family had a really nice evening of quality time together. These two things make me love it. Again, I'm being silly, but I really enjoyed Oklahoma. And also, there was a really, really good craft shop in Oklahoma. Oh, what was it called? I don't remember the name. I'll look it up. I'll put the name right here because I've been following their Instagram. They had absolutely gorgeous yarn. And it was a really great place. I just stopped in there. I spent maybe 45 minutes talking to the owner, shopping. I'm going to do probably put up a video of all the different yarn that I purchased. And when I was in Arkansas, I stopped at Yarn Candy, another really great yarn store, which I really, really liked. So Oklahoma was just a fun time. Just a lot of family time and craft time. It was good. Done with the X's, so I'm gonna put them up. There we go, there we go. What should we do next? What color? Oh, J. Oh, that's gonna be a very nice orange. And we have a lot of J, so let me make sure to put a lot in my tray. Oh, that was a lot. I think I put so much it's not gonna end up in a nice line on my tray, but whatever. Okay, here we go. So J is DMC 741, and this is kind of a bright, light orange. There we go. So here, I have the best light on the end of my tray right here. That's what this DMC 741 looks like. Let's get started on that. And then after Texas, we actually drove up to Colorado. My husband has family in Denver, Colorado. Every time we've been to Colorado, I've really enjoyed myself. I love the weather there. I love a lot of the outdoor activities there are, so I was really looking forward to Colorado. And at this point, this was only halfway through our trip because we actually were gone for more than a month, I think. And a week of that was Disney, and Colorado was going to be a little bit more into our halfway point, or maybe right at our halfway point. I don't have the itinerary in front of me. I'm going on, a lot of this is going on memory. But I was really looking forward to Colorado. We originally only planned on spending about, I think, 3 days in Colorado, and we had some extra days built into our schedule. And we decided, when we hit somewhere that we want to maybe stay longer, we'll use these extra days. And I think after our first night there, we decided that we wanted to stay longer. So our trip in Denver ended up being 5 days. And it was wonderful. Again, my husband has family there. We got to spend time with family, just really relaxing time with family. It's his aunt and his uncle. His aunt is an amazing cook. So we're just eating all of this really delicious food, having some just fun drinks together, sitting outside. They have a beautiful backyard. So the kids are playing in the backyard, and it was just some good times, good memories. And I'm really glad that we got out there. The weather was gorgeous. We're talking I think it was maybe low to mid 70s the whole time. And somehow it came up where I was talking to the girls, or the girls asked me something. It was a question about snow. And I realized they've only seen snow one time in their life, because it just doesn't really snow that much in Northern Virginia. They saw flurries one day in Northern Virginia. And then when they were about 1.5 years, they went to their grandparents' house in Kentucky, and it snowed there. But that's the only bit of snow that they've ever seen. And they asked a question of do you think we'll get to see snow? So I was asking my husband, do you think in June it's going to be snowing? And he's like, I really don't know. And apparently if we had arrived the week before, the end of May, there was snow. But when we got there, there wasn't. And I mentioned this to my husband's uncle, and he was like, oh, we might not have snow here, but we can do a very short drive and see snow. So we ended up driving to Pikes Peak, this beautiful mountain, and we got a few miles up the mountain, and there was snow, and we got out of the car, and the kids had a snowball fight, and they played in the snow, and they were so happy, so excited. I mean, we've been in North Africa, and there's no snow. So as they've gotten older, they've really wanted to do something like this, and they were incredibly happy. And there was bad weather that day. So originally, we went to the furthest point that we could go, and the weather cleared, and they said that we could go all the way up to the top of the mountain, and we did. We drove all the way to the top of Pikes Peak Mountain, And of course, it's just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. There's snow on the ground. It was incredibly cold, very windy. So all the photos of me, again, I didn't really pack anything super warm. I'm in flip-flops. I'm in flip-flops in the snow. So it's windy. My hair's all blown around. My face is I'm trying to smile, but I'm like, oh, it's so cold. And that's definitely a memory that I hope my girls have when they're older. They think back to when they went all the way to the top of a mountain. They saw snow, but we had a really, really good time. And Colorado is the kind of place where, again, I love cold. I like warm weather. I don't like hot weather. I want to live in a place that has snow, and Colorado is the kind of place that if I could ever do it, I would love to live there or retire there or something, because the climate just works. I love it. I love it. And that was 5 days. And the nice thing about that is it was all really relaxing, and it gave us the chance to really rejuvenate ourselves. And I went to another yarn store there, maybe called Colorful Yarn. Colorful Yarn. And it was a beautiful store. Absolutely gorgeous. One thing that I noticed when I was going into all these yarn shops, going across the United States, I really felt welcomed and supported, because I've been knitting for 5 years, but I would still call myself a beginner and a slight intermediate, definitely not advanced. And my local yarn store in Northern Virginia, oftentimes I'll go in there, ask a question, and I feel like an idiot for asking a question. I really do. It's a little stuck up. They only sell premium expensive yarns, like $26 to $42 a skein. And the yarn is beautiful. And I've got in there and I've shopped when I can afford it. But it doesn't, it's not the kind of place that I can regularly shop at. It's just not the price point that I can have, do projects with. Yet I'm going into these other yarn stores across the United States, and instantly I'm welcomed. I ask a question and they're super helpful. And I'm looking around and there's yarn at every price point. They have very beautiful, expensive yarn. And they also have yarn in a $5, $6, $7 range, or a $12 range, or a $16. It meets everybody's needs. So I spent a lot of time in these shops. I bought a lot of stuff. I bought too much stuff. But Colorado had another really nice yarn shop. We also went to the zoo there. So the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo, super cool. It's on a mountain. So as you're looking at all the different animals, you're climbing a mountain, and they have a spot there where you can feed giraffes. So the kids were really excited to feed giraffes, and even the baby came out of his stroller, and you buy the lettuce from them, and it's these huge things of romaine lettuce. And the little baby, this little 1.5-year-old, is taking lettuce up, and he's kind of holding it out, and he's a little apprehensive. He's like, what's this animal? But these giraffes come and they grab it and they eat it, and he just giggled and giggled and giggled. He had a really nice time. It was just beautiful. Again, the weather was warm, but like a storm kind of started coming through when we left, so it got cold. And we ended up putting jackets on, or our light jackets, before we left. Yeah. I feel like this has been a pretty long drill with me. In fact, I might cut it here, because that's like the first half of our U.S. trip. Let me finish all of these J's, and we'll do the pumpkin in 2 parts, because the pumpkin it's a big piece of Cinderella's canvas. But I just had, we had a lot of fun going across the U.S., and we're only halfway done. So we also went, and I'll talk about this in the next video, we also went to a lot of stuff in New Mexico and Arizona. We went to Tombstone, which I had a really fun time. I was thinking that would be something more, my husband really wanted to go and check it out. And I'm like, yeah, let's check it out. And then I found myself being the one who was really into it. Like, let's dress up. We need to dress up. We need to go to all these different sites. We have to see everything. And then we went to Las Vegas. We did Vegas with the kids. We did the Pima Airspace Museum. We went to the Grand Canyon. I think the Grand Canyon was one of the first places that I filmed a video at. Oh gosh, and Crystal, if you're still watching, if you're still listening to me ramble, the Soulmates diamond painting, I did bring that with me across the states. I stopped filming, but I did bring it with me. I spilled coffee on it. Well, I'm not the one who spilled coffee on it. Those cute littles of mine spilled coffee on it. So I waited a few days for it to dry, and then it was so difficult to work in the hotel and do drill with me, so I never started it again. But I still have it. See, guys, rambling. So we did Vegas. We went to California, and we stayed in the mountains in a cabin in California. We spent some time in LA, and then we headed back to the States. But I'll tell you all the specific things that we did in those spots in the next video. And we'll see if this one is not as long as it feels like. Maybe I put it all in one video. That's so long though. I will do 2 parts of the pumpkin and fill you in because we had a really nice time. And the kids had a nice time. I mean, people think when we say we traveled across the country with 3 kids and the dog, they think we're crazy. They're like, oh my gosh, what was that like? And it was really a good time. Surprisingly, they were all well behaved. Okay. So when we do the next drill with me, we'll work on the lighter orange transitioning into yellow and a little bit of kind of a white color up top. It's not the complete pure that 5200 white. It may be a little cream, and we'll do the green up top for the vines. Yes, this has been a lot today. If you have any questions, put them down below. I've just been rambling, but I love chatting with you guys, and I appreciate you watching, being here. I will talk to you again soon. Bye, crafters.